Hey, what is up, everybody? Michael Crump back here again, talking about the latest and the greatest PlayStation homebrew news and much, much more. So, there has been tons of developments in the PlayStation scene. So, let's just go ahead and jump straight into it with some of the more recent news being this one right here from etaHEN-SDK. And he says, "All right, everyone, we now have full support for all 5.x. We are still working on 6.50 and 7.61, which will be available later." And then he provides a link down here where you can go ahead and try kstuff. Now, this is just specifically for kstuff. Now, what does that mean? That means that with kstuff, we can do things like install PKG files, including some of our fake PKGs for some of the PlayStation 4 games, as well as Homebrew. Now, it didn't take long before somebody took that file and started zipping it up, and they put it over on mega.nz. And I'll just provide this link here just for those of you that do not want to join Discord. Now, one thing we did see over here from LightningMods is that he put a check mark here a couple of days ago in 5.50. And what this is basically he is able to get etaHEN as well as items flow working. So now on a 5.50 system, you would be able to go ahead and run some of these latest and greatest PS5 game backups, which I will get to in just one moment. So with 5.50 starting to get checked off here, we did see over in the etaHEN-SDK, he has also added support for 5.50 here. So it's great to start seeing 5.50 being added to the SDKs because obviously more folks will be able to start utilizing that in their homebrew applications. Now, there was a brand new update that came out to the PS5 jar loader by Hammer83. And so some of the items that was included in this 4.1.1, and again, I'm more specifically looking towards the end user experience. There was some kernel offsets for 5.x that had some major problems, and it looks like all of those are fixed now. There was also some bugs in the SDK, fixed the FTP server from not reading the device files, and then a few more. Now, one thing to note is that with this PS5 jar loader, they have had 7.61 kernel support for quite some time now. And if I scroll down here, you can see it just right here, kernel read-write primitives up to 7.61. And so there was this video that was posted of a 7.60 machine that was trying out the Hammer 83's PS5 jar loader, and we can see they've inserted the disk, and then right over here they've started the jar loader, and now they're going to select the UMTX jailbreak here. And then once it is jailbroken here, you can see they are going up to the debug settings, and they're enabling that. And then down at the bottom, that does give them the kernel read-write. From here, they can exit back out of it. There's the jar loader 4.1.1. And now they're going to go ahead and try to install a PKG here. And there is the PKG that they have selected. And as you can see, it is installing. And right there is the game. They've got Metal Slug XX running on a 7.61 machine, which that is just so very cool. And one more quick thing for this topic. And again, I'm not 100% sure how great this is, but this is a spoofer payload that was released for the PS5 firmware 5.1 and 5.5 to be used with PS4 games that ask you to update your firmware to play a game. So you definitely can try this out. And this is absolutely great if you happen to be one of those on one of those specific firmwares. Next up, I saw a very cool project that allows you to look up PlayStation 5 software error codes. Now, that says here that this is a Python-based GUI designed to streamline the process of troubleshooting software error codes, and that this tool allows users to input the error codes, look them up, and display the corresponding error strings in an easy-to-use interface. So here is what it looks like once you get it running. And you just go ahead and put the error code in right here, and to search for it. And you'll see right here is the code, there's the hex, and there is the description. So you would have a little bit more information if you are troubleshooting some of these software error codes. Next up, there has been a couple of things that has dropped here for the PlayStation 4. So the very first one is this one over here from Lappy, and this is Avatar Changer 1.02. But what this allows you to do is to set your avatar of your current user on your PlayStation 4. And yes, there is a lot of options that you can see here. It looks like this is just page 1 of 89. So as always, you can download it from the link that I will leave in the description. Next up, let's take a look at another project by Master S9, and this one is just simply called PS SOCAT version 3.0. So what is SOCAT? Basically, it allows you to have a bidirectional stream of data that flows from one machine to another in layman's terms. Now, it's not a feature that is very appealing to end users, but I'm sure the developers in the scene and just the tinkers will enjoy that. Now, next up is a couple of different releases regarding those PlayStation 5 titles that I was telling you about. So we get Hogwarts Legacy or the PlayStation 5, and these will only run on the 5.x systems. And then we have another title over here. And then there's obviously a number of titles that still kind of coming out from Duplex. Things like NBA 2K24, In Nightmare, Gungrave, Sniper Elite, and then a few others in here. So definitely something worth keeping an eye on, especially as we're starting to get more drops of these 5.x games that are coming out. But do keep in mind, these are primarily only working on a 5.x system and won't necessarily run on your 4.03 or 4.51 system. And speaking of the PlayStation 5, there is a project here that's called PS5 Data Extractor that I have mentioned a couple of times before on the channel here. And what this does is this copies some of the more popular plugins. So airpsx, error disabling, some of the illusions cheats. Instead of doing things like FTPing all these files manually, you basically just run this PKG file and you are up to date with the latest plugins. Now, this one hasn't been updated as recently, so do always keep that in mind. This is just another option that you can use. Now, last episode, I released a tool that was to help folks find a PlayStation 5 model that is jailbreakable. As I'm still kind of going through this form here and then adding more serial numbers, as you can see, the USA serial numbers are starting to be added onto this. I did want to call out this original resource guide right here, which is another serial number guide. And that is because I was able to talk to Whackman about this. He did tell me that the serial number guide is also a solid place to go. And so, anyways, you'll start seeing more and more of this kind of being developed together. And I'm super pleased because I would love for all of you to have a great way that you can find a jailbreakable PlayStation 5. Okay, a couple of more things here. So there is a new airpsx release that has come out, and it was actually version 0.11. And the only thing that it states here is just the media application was added. Now, some of the previous releases, he did go ahead and delete, but I did find that some of the previous releases that have been removed, such as 0.09, it did have some new features that wasn't mentioned in the latest README, and that was that you now have the ability to execute a payload inside of the file manager, which I think this is just an absolutely great feature. Again, if you haven't seen or heard of airpsx, check out my channel because I already have a video detailing this step by step. Then we have a few things to kind of wrap up on here. For our PS5 cheats, there was a couple of new cheats recently been added, And those cheats by LightningMod were for the games Uncharted, The Lost Legacy, and then Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. So more cheat support. We absolutely love that. And then last but not least, I absolutely had to make a call out here to EvilNet and especially EvilNet 4.92 being released. So if you do have a PlayStation 3, this is the time you would want to go ahead and update it to 4.92. With the recent release that Sony made of PlayStation 3 4.92, it basically added Blu-ray support. It had to kind of refresh those certificates where you could continue to play Blu-rays on your PlayStation 3. So anyways, if you're not super interested in that, maybe the previous version is okay with you. I particularly like to keep my systems all the way up to date. Anyways, thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Michael, out!